Hello friends, Dr. Nels here coming to you this week with information on the only common theme in all my failures is me. Hello friends, Dr. Nels here coming to you this week with more information on life, leadership, and business, building your values and principles so that you can be the very best version of you. And as mentioned in our intro, we're talking about failures. And I briefly mentioned the only common theme in all of my failures is me. And I routinely talk about my poignant moment in my life in 2007 when I realized as we were growing this clinic and adding people and it was getting busier and I didn't have a clue. I didn't know my head from my ass in hiring and firing. I didn't know my head from my rear in creating culture and core values. I could work longer, harder, smarter than most anybody around me because that's just who I am to win. But in that process, I was failing in so many ways. And for me, it was a wonderful exercise of humility because I failed in a meeting, called two females bitches in a meeting. That might seem really, really bad, and it is really, really bad. Some of you have maybe never heard that story. Most of you maybe haven't. And that's just me because I failed miserably that day. Thanksgiving Eve of 2007, and we had two ladies arguing over who was going to stay afternoon because it was the first time ever in Great Bend, Kansas that a clinic was going to close at Thanksgiving Eve and Christmas Eve at noon so people could get more time with their families, and two ladies were arguing over who was going to stay to run our PI samples. And I told Jill, who's still here with me that survived my stupidity, I would solve that problem. And I came in, got back from a feed yard and came right in. It was right at noon, sat them all down and proceeded to let them know they both would stay. And yes, called two ladies bitches. And then I turned around and walked out. And I went to the back door of the clinic and I looked down at my feet at the ground and I said, that's not how that was supposed to go. And the second thing that hit my brain was, my mother would not be proud. And it was that very poignant moment that I was failing, and I knew I was failing, but I had the humility to look in the mirror and realize I was the problem. And that's what set into motion my deep, disciplined leadership studies to the point of driving my wife crazy because I couldn't get enough of it. We'd be writing places and I'd be listening to leadership, self-improvement, guru help all the time, reading nonstop. At one point she said, "Can you not get enough of this?" And I said, "No." But I did bring her along in my ride as well as the journey continued. She drank the juice with me, took off down that journey herself, and it's been so awesome. But the reality is I was failing, but it took a poignant moment in my life, a deep enough failure to realize I was the problem. And I think we all have this challenge. We're prideful, we're confident, we think we know what we're doing, or maybe we do know what we're doing to a certain degree. But for you to be the very best version of you, you have to understand your failures are because of you, which means you need to look in the mirror every day. I'm coaching with a yard, I think I mentioned them last week, and the leader of that yard challenged his leadership team to look in the mirror every day for this year, 2025. And if we can get lots of people to look in the mirror and accept their failures, and to not only accept them, to take full responsibility for those failures, to take full responsibility for those failures in front of those they lead, to take responsibility for those failures in front of their family, in front of your peers. If you can get lots of people to take full responsibility for their failures routinely and all the time, radical success will begin to happen. I promise each and every one of you. But that takes some vulnerable honesty, some extreme levels of humility, and it can be very, very hard for some folks to do. But I know you can do that. I know if you're watching this, you're doing this to a certain degree already. It gets hard when you really don't want to accept that failure. So I'm challenging you today to accept your failures, learn from them while you're down there, clean up the mess while you're down there. Don't linger too long in the mud and the shit. Clean it up, fix it, learn, get up, rock and roll, move forward, accept it, take responsibility in front of people, and keep moving forward aggressively. Thanks for being with us this week, folks. We hope you like this content. Click subscribe here. Thanks for your time, friends. We'll see you next week.